Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast episode of Haystack Nation. I'm your host, Jesse, and I'm here with Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
If you heard a little bit of giggling and laughing in the background in the middle of this intro, that's because we have a little guest. Yeah, a little guest here with us. You want to say your name?
Evie.
She's very excited. We have Evie here in the studio with us.
Yay.
Yay. What's your full name, Evie?
Evangeline.
Evangeline. It's a pretty name. Who gave you that name?
Mommy.
Oh, I think it was Daddy.
No, it was Mommy.
Mommy.
Well, we're happy to be here. We're happy to be able to share another podcast with our audience. And
Do you want to explain why Elijah is not here?
yeah, we should not leave him out, huh?
Because Evie's our favorite.
Who
I'm just kidding.
says that?
Just kidding.
No, he wasn't feeling too well. You know,
No, he had a headache and he went to bed.
He went on a little bike ride with Dad this afternoon and kind of overexerted himself and burned himself out. He came inside. He looked red as a lobster.
Yeah, because it's super hot.
Because super hot. And then out he was, which is good. He needs to sleep because he's pretty miserable when he has a headache. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad he's sleeping. But we have Evie. Yay. So Evie's here. And we're going to ask her a few questions just real quick because kind of this is a month of May and there's graduation. Yeah. I mean, the focus and the emphasis tends to be on graduations and graduates. And we're going to talk to Evie a little bit about school. Right, Evie?
Yes.
Yes. And so you're going to be starting school soon, right?
How old are you?
How old are you? How old are you, first of all?
For now, I'm 5.
You're 5? Okay.
Yes.
And
Were you in school this year? Did you go to school? Or did you just do school at home?
I just did school at home.
And who's your teacher?
Papa, they live next door to us.
So we had Papa, who is the grandfather, right? Work with Evie on some very basic things like the alphabet and the letters.
Preschool stuff,
right?
Yeah.
So what grade are you going to next year?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Yay. That sounds very exciting. Are you excited about kindergarten?
I don't know yet.
That's okay. Oh, that's okay. You don't know yet. That's a good answer. You don't know it because you haven't been, right? Do you have any little friends that are going to be in kindergarten? Jacob. Yeah, he will be with you in kindergarten. Yeah. Anyone else that you know of?
I don't know.
What kind of things do you think you're going to learn in kindergarten?
Maybe I'll learn to do math.
Maybe you learn to do what? Math? Okay.
I already know
Are you already
away.
Oh, you're already ready to learn math?
Yeah, I already know taking away.
You already know what? Taking away?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you one thing about taking away.
Okay, tell me.
So if I have 5 and then I take away 2, I have 3 left.
Oh,
fantastic. That is great.
I already know how to do taking away.
I know.
You know what? You deserve... Good job. I think you're going to be a smart kindergartner. Already ahead of the curve.
Then I'll be like, if I have 5 and then I take away 1, I have 5 left.
No.
Look at your
I take back what I just said.
The other kids are not thinking about that.
Oh,
like,
that's what she said. The other kids.
Other kids. You know,
5 and then I take away 1, I have 3.
That's what the other kids are going to be like.
But not you, right? You're going to get the right answers.
I'll always get right.
You always get it right. Well, I hope that you have a good time in kindergarten, that you learn all kinds of new things. But the most important thing is that you're going to be around other kids, and I hope you make a lot of friends. Are you ready to make new friends?
I don't know.
Do you want to make new friends?
Do
you want to make friends? Or you prefer to just be by yourself?
Well,
I think it's more fun with friends, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I
Okay.
get to play with Jacob a lot.
Yeah. When do you graduate?
She's She's like, what does that mean?
What is Don't worry about it. You've got a long ways to go before you graduate. But
like 100 months.
Probably is about right.
100 years or 100 nights or 100
Yeah, that's a long
years,
time.
100 nights or 100
Yeah, it's going to be a long time.
100 nights.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us a little bit about what's coming up with you in kindergarten. We're happy that you shared with us.
Thank you.
Okay, you can go now. Thank you, Evie.
I have one more thing to tell you.
Okay, you can tell us one more thing.
Before I leave.
Okay, talking to your microphone so we can hear you.
I have learned a lot.
You have learned a lot?
And I want to tell you something.
Okay.
So I know how to make the sound out of X.
X?
Yeah.
How do you make it?
X.
You're going to be learning so much more. I think you have a pretty good teacher. You must have a good teacher.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to learn a whole lot more, and I hope that you enjoy kindergarten, and I hope that you enjoy your teacher and making friends. So can you say bye to everyone?
Bye.
Bye, Evie. Thank you.
I'll see you later.
We'll see you later.
And it's another Sabbath and another Haystack video.
Yeah.
Bye, Haystack fans.
Thank you, Evie. That was cute. Well, that was a great interview. We enjoy having Evie and Elijah to interview. Next time we'll have Elijah. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So just want to remind everyone to you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and social media if you want to find out what we're up to or when the next podcast is coming up. We'd like to hear from you too. Share the podcast with others as well. You can find us also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. If you're interested or you just want to tell someone, hey, I found this really cool podcast. It's a nice Adventist Christian podcast.
With a cute little 5-year-old.
Yeah, sometimes they have a 5-year-old on there, and she's adorable and cute. And that's, it's all fun when, she's on the microphone. But once she gets off that microphone, it's like chaos. But we like to include them and involve them because it's good for them. And I think they enjoy being a part of this, right?
Yeah, and hopefully one day they can take over.
Man, even though they make us sweat when we're like, what are they going to say? Is it going to be appropriate? But anyway, yeah, we appreciate all that have joined us, that have found us. We hope that you continue to listen and invite other people, encourage other people to listen to our podcast as well. It's fun. Mm-hmm. And you can also contact us. We do have an email address, haystacknation@gmail.com. Drop us a line. Say hi. Tell us how much you love us or how much you don't like us. You can tell us that too. You can tell us whatever you want to tell us, but
don't tell us that.
No, some people are very expressive. But if you have something you want to share with us, maybe you have a ministry, maybe you're a part of a ministry, maybe your church is doing something exciting and you want to, share that with the audience that we have. We do have an audience, by the way, not a big audience, but there is an audience. But you're involved in something you want to share. Maybe you have a story, a testimony. Maybe you want to encourage someone. We definitely would be more than happy to have you on the show, or at least mention you if you have something that you would like to share with others. If you want to invite us to come on site, that'd be fun too. We'll bring the kids too. We'll bring the swag. We'll bring some just some surprises and things to hand out and pass out. But if you have an event and you think
I said maybe,
yeah. Well, we'll do our best.
We'll do our best. Yeah,
we'll do our best.
Don't promise that because we don't know if we can get that done yet.
We can. We will. Anyway, so just want to, again, invite you to interact with us if at all possible. And again, we appreciate those that are listening and those that have reached out to us. And we look forward to continue to bring you some more podcasts and more experiences and share more things with you. Really, our purpose, our goal is to share encouragement, to share Jesus, to share his love, to share the gospel, to share the good news. There's a lot of people that, sometimes just need a little bit of uplifting and encouragement. And we just want to maybe be a bright spot in someone's day, someone's life, if possible. All right. So one of the things that happens in May is graduation, right? A lot of celebrations and graduates. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when you graduated? Was that a long time ago?
I don't. I mean,
you didn't have. Did you have a graduation?
I didn't have graduation for high school because my last 2 years of high school I was homeschooled. So it was just like the last day. That's it. Bam.
And you're done.
I'm done. But I mean, I remember when I graduated from school for surgical tech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I remember that.
Where'd you rank?
Why would you ask me that question? Because it's very, I was valedictorian
of
the class.
Nice. See, you are smart.
I guess.
I ranked like number 200 and.
Well, there was a small class, so I mean, I don't know.
What, are you embarrassed to talk about that you're valedictorian? Why?
I don't know.
Vanessa, you deserve an applause. That's an accomplishment. You're too modest. You need to celebrate that a little more. You need to, share that with other people a little more. Yeah, I was not anywhere near valedictorian. I was lucky I graduated.
Oh gosh, whatever.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember high school graduation was large, very big. They did it in at the gym of a university. It was a big class, and I don't remember much about it. It was just big. I mean, it was a public.
That was a long time ago for you.
It was. I mean, it was a long time ago.
I mean, college alone was like 20 years.
College, I know, right? And then college, I kind of remember that graduation. I mean, that was at Southwestern Adventist University, the gym. I don't even remember anything. I don't remember any of the speeches. I don't remember anything. All I know is that I got a diploma and I graduated. That's all that really matters. And then I did graduate school, and I don't even think I went to that graduation. I was just glad I was done with school, period. Done forever.
I think you told me that you didn't go to that.
No, I didn't go to that one. What advice, any words of wisdom for graduates?
Run.
Run? From what?
Real life.
Go hide yourself. No, that causes a lot of psychological problems, Vanessa.
I know, I'm just kidding.
You can't ignore real life. That was not good advice at all.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. You know what? What do you think the graduate would want to know or would need to know about getting out into the real world?
I don't know. I mean,
you've been in the real world for how long now?
I know, but it's very different from school. Like
knowing what
things aren't always.
Knowing what you know now about the real world, what would you tell? What might you tell a graduate?
I gotta think about this now.
Well, we'll come back to you.
Okay. What would you say?
Me?
Yeah.
I would say, graduation speeches are always about the future, right? Oh, you're going to, you're
Nobody
graduating.
Remembers graduation speeches.
You're looking forward to your future. Yeah, I know, right? You're looking forward to your future, and you're going to be planning this and planning that, and you don't know what's coming your way, but make the most of it. Just kind of. But no one ever talks about the importance of the present. So my advice to graduates is to remember the present. Every day, remember the present. I don't think we give enough thought to the present. If you think about it, a lot of our thoughts usually go to the past, right? Because we think about things that have happened to us, or we think about too much about the future. We think about what we're going to do. We think about like what's coming up. Sometimes we get really anxious about it because we're uncertain about the future. Mm-hmm. But like, how often do you really take time during your day to just be in the present, at the present moment?
I don't even do that now.
I think that's a discipline. That's a discipline in life that comes in handy that I think is often overlooked. And I would definitely encourage any graduate to stay in the present as much as possible, because in the present is where you're living. That's where everything is going on, is in the present. And if you can take care of the things in the present, then the future takes care of itself. And the past, well, you can learn from the past, but you can't change anything about the past. All you can do is change and affect the present moment.
Okay.
That's what I would say. I would say you've got to learn to live in the present. So, here's a few other quotes, by the way. And I'm going to read some of these. And we're going to see if this is good advice, if this sounds like words of wisdom, if this sounds like something you could use in real life, something that could really help you and motivate you. And so we're going to go through some of these quotes. And some of these, I don't know who some of these people are that have quoted these things. But nonetheless, I think some of these can be of value and importance, and others of these maybe not so much. But we're going to check these out and see what we can learn from them. Number one, now this is a quote from Jon Stewart. The unfortunate yet truly exciting thing about your life is that there is no core curriculum. The entire place is an elective. I guess that's just kind of saying that, in life you have all kinds of choices. You have all kinds of things that you can do. I don't know about the fact that there's no core curriculum. I think as a Christian and as a believer, I think the Bible serves as that curriculum. It kind of serves as your guide, as your book to, manage life, live life. And I think it has a very important place in just kind of managing things. And so, yes, there's a lot of exciting opportunities, a lot of exciting choices that you can make in life. But I think also, don't forget that you do have a guide in Scripture, right? Wouldn't you agree with that one?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Because it started making me think about, like what you said, some like advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just like, you're right. Like, don't be, I think it's also, you're right. Like, live in the present, but don't be scared of like the road that you're going to be going down.
Mm-hmm.
And to just remember to always rely on God. And I think let him guide you,
mm-hmm.
In the choices that you have to make. Because, like when you're in the real world, now things are affected. And then you begin to have families that will be
more responsibilities
that are affected by the choices you make. Mm-hmm. And so, sorry, I was just thinking about that whenever you were discussing this. And
I was
like, oh, that's actually good. Well, I just think, I think about like my career and where I started and where I'm at now. And where I'm at now, let me see, how long have I been doing this? It'll be 16 years in September. And I just think of where I started and where I'm at now and the job that I have now. It took this long. I've only been at this, like, my all-time favorite job. It only took, I've only been here for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's taken that long to get to
where you want to be.
To where I wanted to be.
Yeah. And that's been like really opportunities that have presented themselves.
Oh yeah.
It's not
like I could have never imagined that the
yeah.
position I have right now that I would have ever had this.
I would say it hasn't been the most ordinary path for you in your career, right?
Right.
I mean, there's been things that have happened in your career that have been opportunities that not many other people in your field can have.
Like this is something that's very rare and that does not happen very often.
Yeah.
And I will say that, we've always, I just lost the word. When you're like, we've always involved God in our decisions in the past that we take, like in our career wise. Mm-hmm. And I just think like where he's put me now, it's like, this is like a job that I'll probably retire from.
Yeah.
In this position.
God willing.
Yeah.
I think that's a very important point. As I was saying earlier, I think the present, that practice is important, but absolutely, I think having God in your life should be your ultimate goal, your ultimate purpose. everything should revolve around how can I involve God in every aspect of my life, and
because he also cares about
absolutely,
your job and how it affects you, because your job does affect
you.
Oh,
it does.
We've been in jobs where they've been very stressful, and it affects our home life and other things. And
you think about how long do you spend at your job every day? 8 hours
or more.
Yeah. I mean, your job is literally the place where that's going to impact you the most, right? Because whatever job you have, that's where you're going to be at for the most part of the day. I mean, you come home after a 8, 10, 12-hour day. I mean, you're with your family for a few hours, and then you go back to work.
Right.
So, I mean...
So don't be discouraged. I think don't be discouraged, when you come out and it may not be your ideal job, because it's very rare that you get your ideal job right out of school.
Right away.
Yeah. And it's something that, I think comes later. And then you kind of realize certain things about what you would like to find in a job, or a place that you're working. So just be patient with that too. And, don't just think that, I have to wait for the perfect job, because sometimes that doesn't come till later.
There are definitely...
And there are lessons to be learned.
Oh, yeah. Great point. Here's another quote that I think goes along with what you're trying to say. If you can find a path with no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere.
There you go. We've had obstacles.
Yeah, and sometimes they appear to be insurmountable obstacles.
Oh, yeah. But I will say that even when we got to that point, we may have had to endure like some of those obstacles for a while that was just very uncomfortable. But then I feel like God always opened up a door and another opportunity for us to remove ourselves from, those jobs.
So sometimes being patient and enduring those obstacles, we sometimes would love for God to just remove the obstacle immediately, right? Just, Lord, just remove it now. I've endured enough.
Yeah.
But
sometimes
God sometimes leaves those obstacles there.
Sometimes we have to sit in that uncomfortableness or that fire.
That fire.
For a while, and then an opportunity is opened.
But if we trust in God, and we have that faith that He is there and He's looking out for us, it makes it easier sometimes to endure, or at least it takes a focus off the obstacle.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it easier to endure, is that when you're focused on the obstacle, that's all you see. And Jesus wants us to also, hey, I'm over here. Hello. Yeah.
Again,
don't take your eyes off me.
Again, those are opportunities for us to, when you're put in those positions, there's also opportunities for us to be able to remember God, I think. Because, I know I'm guilty of this, but when do we always remember God the most?
When we're in crisis.
Exactly.
when we're in trouble, right?
Yes.
Well, you're right. Well, and then, think about Peter when he walked on water. We all know that story, right? And then, he took his eyes off Jesus. And, of course, he was focused on the waves and the storm and everything that was going on around him. And he began to sink. And I think the same thing happens in life sometimes. We have those obstacles that seem so, insurmountable. They seem hard, difficult. When's the end? And if we focus on just that, we begin to sink. I mean, we begin to feel like just overwhelmed. I mean, I'm sinking in this. And Jesus, all He wants us to do is remember, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's funny though, because I feel like in both of our, we both had jobs where we felt like that, where we just felt like we were drowning in all the stuff that's going on at work, that I think that sometimes when we finally realize, what, God, I'm, just help me get through the day, and consult Him throughout the day. I don't know if consult's the right word, but I mean, just to be able to...
It sounds so professional.
I know, but I just mean to say, okay, God, just help me get through this day. I'm not happy here, but help me make the most of it. And I think when we finally get to that point and we finally are like, okay, you know what? It was actually a little bit more peaceful. Even though things were chaotic at work, it just still felt more peaceful. I think that's when God's like, okay, you've learned what I need you to learn. Now, here's the door. There's an opportunity.
There's an opportunity there for you.
Presented itself. You know?
Yeah. God's timing is everything in these situations. It's not our timing a lot of times. It's God's timing. And that's what kind of is a little difficult to kind of remember. It's not my timing. It's God's timing. And in the meantime, he'll help me, through this. This is great. I mean, every graduate listening to this they're just ready to go out there and work now to get into the workforce after what we've told them.
We're inspirational.
We're totally inspirational. What an uplifting conversation about your future career. You know what? But there's going to be some graduates that they're going to love their career. And I'm kind of jealous of those graduates. They kind of know what they're doing. They know what they want. Mm-hmm. They love what they're going to do, and they're going to go out there and really enjoy it. And I got to just say, I'm a little bit jealous of you.
Well, me too. Because you know what? I think it's very hard for a 17 and an 18-year-old to already know what they want to do in life. You haven't even hardly lived life, but you're supposed to already know what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, and then at 18, you're just, you're kind of just beginning your college journey, but you're right.
And it's like your first time of like freedom, like you're more independent because your parents aren't there to like guide you through everything. Right. And it's like, but you got to have it figured out. You better already know what you want to do in life.
Shoot, I didn't have it figured out.
Me either.
I think last week I still didn't have it figured out. I think today I haven't had it figured out.
Well, like I said, there are things that I didn't know about when I was 17 or 18 and making life choices that I kind of always think, man, if I would have known about this, I would have tried that instead. Mm-hmm. I would have done that. That sounds like it's awesome, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
didn't always work out that way.
No, God had other plans.
Oh, but God has blessed us.
Oh yeah,
He has blessed us.
I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah. Well, here's another here. Okay, we've been a little bit of a downer. Here's an uplifting quote. Every year, many stupid people graduate from college, and if they can do it, so can you.
Okay. There's hope.
There's hope. It's not all hopeless here at Haystack Nation. We do provide a little bit of hope. You're going to fall down, but the world doesn't care how many times you fall down as long as it's one fewer than the number of times you get back up. You have to get back. You have to get back up a lot in life.
Oh yeah,
man.
And the world doesn't care.
And that's a hard part about, I think, sometimes the reality of the world is that you will feel sometimes that the world just doesn't care how many times you fall down. Mm-hmm. And they don't care if you are down, and
there's always someone else to replace you.
Yep. Yep. That is so true. There's always someone else. If you can't manage it, then we'll find someone else who can, Debbie Downer, Vanessa.
I know, right?
But the important thing is that you get back up.
Yes.
That's it. Life is about persistence, and it's about getting back up. Jesus will help us get back up.
I'm feeling really inspired.
He puts us on eagle's wings. Be wise because the world needs wisdom. If you cannot be wise, pretend to be someone who is wise and then just behave like they would.
Fake it till you make it. That's what I always say.
Hey, what does the Bible say about wisdom, by the way? The Bible says the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, right? There's a lot of truth in that. If you're a graduate and you already have the knowledge of God and you have the fear of God, it's not talking about like being afraid of God.
Right.
It's talking about just a reverence for God.
Right.
If you have that knowledge of God, you have a reverence for God, you make God the center of your life, and you do everything possible to make that happen in your life. You will find that will provide you with an abundance of wisdom that the people around you don't have. Wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you felt that way sometimes, like in your workplace? Like, and this is not to boast of oneself, but sometimes, as a believer, you have a certain mindset, right? You have a certain mentality. And that mindset and that mentality leads to choices. Mm-hmm. It also comes out in the way you interact with others and manage yourself and the way you work, even your work ethic.
Right.
And when you have that reverence for God in your life and you live your life according to the way God wants you to live, you will find that a lot of people around you don't live that way. And they will comment about you. And sometimes in a way that is like, hey, you're different. Mm-hmm. That's happened to you, right? Like, hey, Vanessa, you don't handle things the way other people are handling things. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's happened to you? I'm sure that's happened to me.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm out there trying to make a point or prove anything. It's just the way that I am. It's just the way that I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to prove a point, but then people notice that. So I think there's a lot of wisdom in that reverence for God and that knowledge of God. And if you practice it in your life.
Yeah, I would agree.
So you don't have to fake it till you make it. Okay, a couple more here, Vanessa. You're graduating from college. That means that this is the first day of the last day of your life. Nope, that's wrong. This is the last day of the first day of school. Nope, that's worse. This is a day. It's just a day.
Oh, it's confusing.
Yeah, I know. Chew on that for a while. All right. The last thing we want to talk about before we kind of wrap things up today is just one of the things in life that you'll have to, at some point, contend with, right? Something that you'll experience in the real world that will be a reality that I think will test your faith more than anything. And that's when you go through an experience that breaks you. Mm-hmm. Right? I think what you'll find in life is that, as you were mentioning earlier, as you progress through life, there comes more responsibilities, more choices, more things to take care of, right? Mm-hmm. And as you go through that journey in life, you're going to encounter at some point, if you haven't already, but you'll encounter at some point that life will try to break you into pieces, right? Everyone, I think, discovers that at some point, that I'm broken in some way. And I think when you're young and you're coming out of college, there's like an invincibility.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Right?
You can't touch me.
You can't touch me, and I'm going to go conquer the world, and the world looks like it can be conquerable. Is that even a word?
Doesn't sound
conquered.
Like it.
I just made it up.
That's not college education right there, guys.
Yep, there it goes. At work. There's all that expensive money that I spent, and I can't even come up with the right word.
Conquerable. Nice.
And I go back to school. But anyway, so some of the things that can happen to you in life, and I just kind of wrote a quick little list here, but bad relationships, right?
That happens.
Happens, man.
That happens.
Employment problems.
That happens.
Happens. Financial problems.
Oh yeah.
That happens. Personal struggles. Mm-hmm. Maybe addictions, trauma, grief, right?
Oh yeah.
Loss. Family issues.
Yep.
Physical problems, illness, accident, something, right? In other words, you encounter these things in life, and a lot of times you're unprepared for some of these things. And sometimes, you kind of are experiencing them already, right? Mm-hmm. But as life goes on, you realize, man, this is really a burden. This is really weighing on me. This is really affecting me, right? So we experience that kind of brokenness in life. We get this sense that life is broken. And I think everyone comes to that realization at some point in their life.
Yeah.
What do we do with that? I mean, what are the options? If we come to that realization that, something has happened.
Right.
Or maybe something is happening. Mm-hmm. And it is breaking me. It is discouraging me. And I feel I'm not the same person that I used to be. I don't have that invincibility that I once had, or I felt that I had.
Right.
What?
Well, you've got a few options. One, you can just let it defeat you when you give up. Another option is that you can just kind of, I guess you really can't just push it off and think that it's going to fix itself.
You can.
You think so?
People do that. People are like, it'll just fix itself. I'll just
okay. So then that's another
ignore
option.
It. That's another option. You can ignore it.
And I think the third and best option is.
Well, you have another one though.
What?
Before you get to that best one.
What? Okay, so you have ignore.
You have ignore. You have
give up.
Give up. Surrender. I'm defeated.
And
right.
What?
And then you realize, oh wow, I have bootstraps.
Pick yourself up.
Pick myself up by my own bootstraps, right? That self-reliance,
yeah, I guess.
that self-reliance.
Yeah, but that only gets you so far.
I can do this.
Well, I mean, I guess you're right. Okay, fine. So there's a few, like I said.
Sorry, because you're going to get to the best one. I just want to throw that one in there. That self-reliance is also one of the things that people try to do.
That, but you're right. There is that one
Let me
too.
dig myself out of my own hole.
Yeah. And then the last is, giving it to God, turning to Him and having Him help you, sort through and guide you through those moments.
Yeah. That is probably the best solution. Mm-hmm. And it sounds easier said than done, doesn't it?
And I will say that I've tried all of them.
Yeah, I think we all have.
And the only one that ever gave me peace through that was turning to God and having Him guide me through, those difficult times.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that's the one that brought you the most peace?
I think, because I think it really is true when God says, give me your burdens and I'm going to carry them. And I don't have to
Come to me, all you that are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
Because if you think about the other ones, you're defeated. You let that burden crush you.
Yeah.
When you try to do it yourself, you can only carry it for so long.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Like it seems like a temporary fix, right? But eventually it'll catch up to you.
And then if you choose to ignore it and think it's going to work out, that can create more, it can have a snowball effect and create more issues. Mm-hmm. So the only...
Have a lot of unintended consequences.
Right, because you don't deal with it. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that one helped me the most just because I didn't have to carry it. I didn't have to worry about it. I knew that I could just give all of those problems or those difficulties or whatever it is over to God, and He's going to carry it.
Some people might say, well, Vanessa, it's a little simplistic there, just give it to God and suddenly
it's not. I will say it's definitely not. It's something that I would say, here you go, God, and take it back the next day. It was something that I had to learn over, I would say even years, even to this day, still having to learn that. And even though I've been through those situations, I still fall back to that when I get put in an uncomfortable situation.
That is very interesting what you just said, though.
What?
That sometimes we're willing to give it to God. Here you are. Mm-hmm. Here it is. And then what do we do next thing? We take it back.
Oh, yeah.
Why? It's almost like why, right? Like, why do we take back the things that we know are causing us so much brokenness and pain and suffering and stress?
Because we want to hurry up and end that suffering and pain and stress, and we think we can do that, but we can't.
I guess that's the other fourth option, right? We give it to God and then we take it back.
Okay, we're just going to keep adding options.
Well, I'm just saying that, that's true though, but it's like we want part of the solution, but not the whole thing.
Right. It's because we have an idea, but God, you gotta fit that into my idea.
It's like, come on, hurry up. Fix this thing. Right. Fix this thing.
Or this is how I would like you to fix it.
Yeah.
And, I've been guilty of that. This is how I want you to fix it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've had to learn it's not the way I want it fixed. It's God's. He has a plan. There are things that I had to learn in that process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we know, and the disciples are a good example of walking with Jesus and many times getting into situations that would create problems. And rather than just completely rely on Jesus, they would always try to figure it out themselves, and that caused them a lot of problems in the process. But turning to God is one of the things that is an option when you're going through things in life that you feel are breaking you, that you feel are causing you so much of a burden. God can give us that peace. If it's something that we're struggling with, He forgives us. That forgiveness is a gift. That's something that many people overlook when it comes to healing. The God's forgiveness. God heals. He gives confidence. He gives assurance, and He also brings success in a way that different from the world. The world kind of thinks of success like material things, prosperity, right? But success
I think sometimes that success comes in just a peace of mind or just, I don't know. I mean,
I think sometimes there's that reassurance that God is there.
Yeah.
I think,
and it's not something that people always, you're right. It's not the world's idea of success. But I don't know. I would rather have the peace of mind because when you have all these thoughts and things going on in your head and there's just no calm or peace to that, and it's just anxiety, stress, and fear, worry. It's I feel like you're suffocating.
Yeah. Well, the wisest man that ever lived, according to Scripture, Solomon, at the end of his life, because he had a crazy life. You got to read his story and you realize that Solomon was wise, but he was foolish also. And at the end of everything, he writes this in Proverbs or Ecclesiastes. I can't remember exactly, but he says, the conclusion of the matter is this: to love God and keep his commandments. That was it. After everything he went through, after everything he learned, the conclusion of everything for that he realized was success in life. And this guy, was successful at many things. Everything from material things to building projects to, all kinds of stuff that he achieved. But at the end, he was like, true success, the culmination of everything, the conclusion of all life, the conclusion of every matter is to simply love God and keep his commandments. There you go. Right?
Easy peasy.
And how do we find Jesus? Do we find him? Does he find us?
I think he finds us. But people go searching and looking, so maybe it's both.
It's a little bit of both. So if we're searching, he will find us, right? If we knock, he will open the door. What does it say? If we ask, he will answer. If we seek, we will find. If we knock, he'll answer. So if we're actively looking and seeking and we don't give up that faith, then we will ultimately, God does find us and he will bless us with his presence. Psalms 147:3. Do you happen to have your Bible there with you? Well, we're going to look at Psalms 147:3 and see what that passage tells us about brokenness and healing and God's role in that. And if I can just pull it up here real quick, because I think it's important that we have this in our mind. Oops. Did I say 147:3?
I think so.
Okay, there is a Psalms 147. All right. So here's what, the psalmist wrote about brokenness and about God. He heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. So if you're feeling brokenhearted, you're feeling wounded by the things in life, Psalms 147:3 is a very simple promise and a very personal promise. And he says he heals the brokenhearted and he binds up his wounds. He's a healer. He's in the business of healing. He's in the business of making us whole again. And if you look at Isaiah 61, Isaiah 61 talks about the Messiah, right? It's the messianic promise. It describes how Jesus, the Messiah, would take on all the sorrows, the infirmities, everything about our condition, right? And that, he would take it and put it on himself and then make that ultimate sacrifice for us. That's a reality. That's a reality in the life of Jesus. That it's not just a promise that's kind of distant, but that promise was fulfilled in the life of Jesus. And because of Jesus, we have that healing. We have that opportunity to be healed. And there's also a passage in Luke chapter 4, verse 1 that I want to share that I think also talks about Jesus here. It says, and that might not be the right passage, actually. But anyway, because Luke chapter 4 is actually about Jesus in the wilderness being tempted by Satan. But, in Jesus' life, everything he did in life, was a exhibit. He manifested God's healing power. And a lot of times the healing was physical, but it was also a spiritual healing that came along with that. And in life, as you're going through life, as you're experiencing some of these things, then it's really important that you understand that God has a healing power that no one else does and that nothing else does.
Right.
And I think we've experienced that in our personal lives. We have, yep. And finally, we'll end with this. The power of love's ministry. This is from the Advent Home. Okay, it talks about the power of love and healing. Love's agencies have wonderful power, for they are divine. The soft answer that turneth away wrath, the love that suffereth long and is kind, the charity that covereth a multitude of sins. Would we learn the lesson? With what power for healing would our lives be gifted? So in other words, what is being said here is that there is a connection, a relationship between love and healing. How life...
I will testify to that.
Yeah. How life would be transformed and the earth become a very likeness and foretaste of heaven if there was love. These precious lessons may be so simply taught as to be understood even by little children. The heart of the child is tender and easily impressed. And when we who are older become as little children, when we learn the simplicity and gentleness and tender love of the Savior, we shall not find it difficult to touch the hearts of the little ones and teach them love's ministry of healing. So they're being an example for children, right? But
well, that's kind of funny that you read that because, Elijah, we were just having little issues with Elijah.
Little issues.
Well, I mean, and so it's just kind of
we're talking about selling him.
No, we weren't.
Kidding.
No, but it's just funny that you read that because yesterday, we had an issue with him and his anger. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of got very overwhelming for him, overwhelming for us. And we were like, we don't know what to do. Like, how do we respond to this? How do we act? What do we, our minds were going like in 1,000 different directions of like, how do we deal with this?
I think we're also just exhausted.
Well, we were. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. Yeah. We're trying to get everything ready for Sabbath. But it's funny that you read that because, right, God's right there saying, we just need to love him.
Love.
I mean, we love him, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I think how we show him during those moments where we're all frustrated, we're all, we're tired. It's the end of the week. And I think sometimes we don't know. I don't always handle those situations great, But it's just like that was God answering us right there. Like,
remember love.
Yeah.
The soft answer that turns away wrath. The love that covereth a multitude of sins. The things that are principles in Scripture, the things that are reflection of who God is and his love, that's what brings healing. And so we think about, well, why is so much brokenness in the world? There's not enough love.
Nope.
There's not enough love.
All you need is love.
Yeah. John Lennon. Genius.
You already knew it.
But that's a powerful thing to contemplate, that love brings healing and compassion brings healing. And when we have brokenness in our life, no one can bring that compassion and that love the way Jesus can.
Right.
And hopefully we have people around us that can encourage that love or be a part of that. But when we feel alone or we feel no one else understands, Jesus will fill you with that compassion and love. He is a compassionate Savior, and he loves us, and he will heal us. He will bring that healing into your life. So we'll end with this. If you want to be successful and you want to graduate from the class of life.
Tie it all in.
Find the power of love. Not the way the world loves, because the way the world defines love is out of whack.
Yeah.
Okay? If you want true love, you want real love, find Jesus.
Yep.
He will show you love like no one can and will show you love. We don't understand God's love. We don't understand the depth, the width, the height of his love, but he wants to begin the process of putting it in our lives if we allow him to. Mm-hmm. All it takes is a prayer. Lord, just be here with me and show me your love. And the healing that will follow may amaze you.
Nice.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us on this podcast of Haystack Nation. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you back here next time. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Jesse.
I love you.
I love you, too.
I feel good already.
I have to say that I'm on air right now. Just kidding.
Is this what it takes for you to tell me that you love me?
I do tell him I love him. Don't worry, guys.
Such a healing experience. God bless you guys. We'll see you back here next time.